Hi, everybody. This is Joanne Binford. I'm here at 58th and 60 with Binford Chronicles, and we've got some protesters out here. We're going to try to see if we can get some of them to talk to us. Last time we were here, we did have the Democratic leader trying to circumvent our questioning, but we just wanted to interview some people and find out what's going on, especially see if anybody wants to talk about uh, Kilmar Abrego Garcia. So let's see what we can gather up as information and find out what these people want and why they're protesting, and see if we can get some responses. All right. So let me turn this camera around. And
You want me to film while you interview?
yeah, there you go. Is it filming?
Yes.
Hi. Chronicles. Would you like to tell everybody why you're out here?
Sure. Well, I think a lot of it has to do with Congress that they just have given up their powers and authority, and they just ceded everything to whatever the leadership wants, not what the people want.
What is it that you want to see done?
Well, I guess it just about reverse everything that the current administration has set in place. For example, instead of abolishing the EPA, they should be strengthening the air and water quality. Instead of eliminating the consumer financial protection, then we should be protecting consumers. Instead of eliminating the parks and service, we should be enhancing their parks and service.
Now, you said abolishing the EPA. Where did you get that information from?
Well, just watch on the news. I mean, okay, so I overstated abolish, but ruin and destroying and laying people off, that is, in essence, destroying the EPA.
So you're, so you're basically, what you're saying is you're not in favor of Doge auditing the company and the finances, like Social Security. They
Oh,
found.
they are, Doge is a travesty. Doge has no legal authority to be doing what they are doing, and Doge uh, has wreaked havoc all over our government.
What do you see Doge's position in your eyes? What do you think their job is to do?
What their job is to propagate the 2025. I think Doge as just being kind of like a reckless takeover of government agencies. It's essentially they're trying to abolish most of what the federal government functions are.
Have you heard of the things that Doge has brought to light?
Have you?
Yes, sir.
Well, tell me about them.
Well, they have found a lot of, on Social Security, they have found a lot of inappropriated funds to people that have been dead for many years. So that's what Doge is doing. They're auditing to find those things that are wrong and why we're so far in debt and to cut
Well,
those
from
things.
what I have not seen any names of anyone published that has been dead receiving Social Security benefits. In fact, a lot of that is programming through the COBOL language that set aside specific dates so that these people would, whose identities have been taken.
Visiting the Doge website to see all of the auditing information because there's transparency on the Doge website. Have you been to that website? Is this
The Doge,
live? Is this live?
yes.
Who are you? I'm Joanne Binford with Binford Chronicles. I introduced myself to him. That's why I'm talking to him. I haven't introduced myself to you.
Well, maybe there are others who have something to
Would
say.
did you visit the Doge website? Okay, so you didn't visit the Doge website. That's what I did.
First, you can get whatever you want, but the fact of the matter is, Doge is just an outreach of
I know. I'm going to
of an agency that has no legal authority, and it's headed by someone who has no care for the American people. So
Can I ask you a
you
question,
can go
sir?
ahead and yeah, go ahead.
You say that has no legal authority. It's the United States Digital Services. Do you know who set that up in 2014?
I think you're going to tell me.
I think you're wasting.
Barack Obama. So it was under the executive office of the president to bring IT infrastructure and accountability to the
Right.
I
government.
think you're wasting your time with these. Well, we're just trying to. No, you're not. Well, you're out here to let the public know, so we're.
Yeah, if you're going to inform the public, inform the
I'm not
public.
arguing with him. I'm asking him questions.
Well,
because
yeah, but you
people-
are better pointed. You know, like it's easy to pick apart. Well, do you know this or do you know
I
that?
pretty much
I
asked you fair questions
can-
because people out here are going to be seeing you and they want to know.
Binford. I gotta look at that up.
Here.
Well, sir, the executive order basically outlines it. So it's already been proven in a court of law to be authentic.
Thanks for coming. We really appreciate
Well, to me, whether it was what court of law authenticated it to be authentic? What court of law?
When they took the Trump administration to
What judge
court,
was it?
challenging the Musk appointment in a supervisory role or an advisory role under the office of the White House, they lost their case against Doge.
Who did? Who lost the case?
Well, I believe that was
Who lost the case?
filed that case.
And what judge was it?
It's in the
What
U.S.
level of court was it? Was it?
It was in the D.C. federal court.
It was a D.C. federal court.
D.C. federal court.
And the D.C. Let me ask you a question. Is Elon Musk a government employee?
He is for 130 something days. He's in advisory
Wait a
capacity.
minute. Is he getting paid?
No.
No,
Well,
sir.
then how can he be an employee?
Well, he's not.
An advisor.
Who's paying Doge? Who's paying these people?
The Doge people are employees at the executive office of the president.
And how much are they getting paid?
You can look that up at the Doge website.
What
Well-
does that have to do with anything?
You have to examine who's benefiting from their actions.
Well, we're benefiting by finding out all of this waste and
It
fraud.
is a waste and a fraud. That is such an overblown statement.
Can I ask you a question?
You just
How did our nation become 36 trillion?
Well, a lot of it came from the last Trump administration when they passed the tax breaks for the wealthy. I think it added like $2.5 trillion to the national debt.
We're $36 trillion in debt and growing.
But wait
It wasn't from tax cuts alone. What else has gone on in our nation to cause this deficit?
Well, a lot of it is taxation. Since they've reduced taxes on the wealthy, a lot of the debt has gone up.
So giving hundreds and thousands and trillions of dollars to different
Wait a minute.
nations.
Went from hundreds of thousands to trillions. Hundreds of thousands, trillions.
Some nations got billions, some nations got trillions,
Which
some
nations
nations
got
got
billions?
hundreds of thousands.
One nation's got
Well,
billions.
how much did Ukraine get?
That is not just saying you're blaming Ukraine for our national debt.
No, I'm saying.
Over time, she says it amounts to trillions of dollars.
Yeah.
First of all, a lot of that money, so-called given to Ukraine, was actually spent here in America. Did you know that?
On what?
On armaments. Where do you think the armaments came
Not
from?
peppermints?
Armaments.
Armaments, no.
Yes. Where do you think it came from? Where do you think they got the weapons from? Where? Where do you think they
We
made
already
them?
gave them
You're not
weapons
answering
and
my question.
We gave them weapons and we gave them money.
We gave them weapons, but where were those weapons made?
Yeah, but that,
Where were they
that,
made?
that's
I'm asking you a
aside.
question.
They're made here, but
Oh,
that's
thank you.
aside.
So those people.
That is aside from the trillions of dollars we gave them.
Oh,
Since when are Democrats for selling weapons to foreign nations for war?
no, but I'm not. They didn't sell. They didn't sell.
Dave is selling.
They didn't sell. They didn't sell. Have you ever heard of World War II? You see this hat? Do you think that?
Do you
we
think
didn't-
Zelensky has a World War II initiative?
Wait a minute. All right, I gotta go.
There's only 4 or 5 left here, folks.
Sir? There were like 50 people here.
Well, 5 left.
There were like 50 people here, but you're sitting there saying there's only like 4 now.
I said 4 or 5 left.
Yeah.
I took pictures earlier.
Because I don't like it when people don't talk.
I said, ma'am, I do. She said, you have to save democracy. I said, well, that's great. this isn't a democracy. She doesn't even know that this is a constitutional republic.
Public.
They don't even know what kind of country they live in. They have no clue. So I'm glad I'm out here with my, like I said, my fellow conservative over there. And, I hope that more residents, more conservatives in Indian River County and in this town can get out here and celebrate, promote, support the values that will hopefully save this country.
Yes.
And I don't know, I can't believe I just said that.
Yeah, right. Put America first.
I'm just glad I was able to articulate what I'm thinking because I'm really emotional right now. This day I feel very patriotic. I have a friend that's actually up in Lexington Congress right now. She attended the ceremony last night and this morning. There's a lot of people there. And I have other friends from here up north. They're also out waving Trump flags and, traditional American flags, patriotic American flags like this one. Because this is a national protest. They've got maybe 3,000 of these April 19th, no kings. They call Donald Trump the king. Last I checked, Donald Trump was elected through their democratic process.
Exactly.
So
Well said. Well said. It's nice to see you fighting
So
for
what do you
America first.
what do you think about Doge?
I think it's fantastic. I think it's decades overdue.
Have you been on the
But
Doge
I want to see
website?
some results from it.
Have you been on the Doge website?
Oh, sure, sure. Tracking, watching, trying to get. There's a whole lot of things to keep tabs on these days, and that's one of them. But
For sure.
I, as well as other real conservatives, want to actually see some real results. Like, for example, defunding NPR and PBS. That's what that lady asked me. She asked me if I still watch Sesame Street. If I have any kids who watch Sesame Street, I said, not anymore. Certainly not anymore. So maybe we can get back to that someday, but it might take a generation. So I hope younger conservatives, younger than myself, will start participating in this. Honestly, I wish people paid just 10%. I wish people in general paid just 10% of the attention that they pay to, for example, professional sports or the newest movies. I wish they would pay just 10% of that to local politics, because really at heart, I'm a grassroots conservative supporter. And I've worked to support grassroots candidates where I live in Franklin County for the last year and a half or so. And it hasn't worked out because, we get outspent by billions by the Florida GOP for their, I'll say it, for their swamp creatures that they keep running and don't vote to represent the constituents in their district. They don't.
What do you think about the tariffs?
I'm not, honestly, I'm not knowledgeable enough about tariffs to really make much.
That's fair. That's fair.
I would have to research more. I really can't say.
That's a very
But
fair answer.
So far, I do trust the decisions that the Trump administration is making overall in terms of the tariffs. So, like they've been reporting, and like Caroline Levitt has been reaching from the White House press from, the tariffs, we've been at a disadvantage for decades. We've been at a disadvantage for decades. We have, 100% plus tariffs and whatnot on other countries are paying single digit taxes, import taxes. So yeah, really, I can't make much of it.
Yeah, our tariffs
Closer than others.
Yeah, our tariffs are relatively low compared to.
It should be fair. That's it. It should be fair.
Say more like a balanced trade. Is that what you're thinking about?
A fair and level playing field, just like girls' sports and women's sports. So I'll tie that right in there.
Yeah.
Everything should be fair, just like it has been for the last 5,000 years or so of sport, I suppose.
We should go ask her what she thinks about tariffs. See if she has a
She
good
says they're
idea.
terrifying.
They don't even know.
We should ask her if she could give us some advice on tariffs since she's old and tariffing.
Go ask her.
Terrifying.
Their slogan for this one, it changes every 2 weeks. Their slogan this week is "No kings, no tyranny." It was different 2 weeks ago. It was different 4 weeks ago.
That was hands off. Now.
Yeah, hands off. So now it's "No kings, no tyranny." We'll have to see what it is in 2 weeks.
I thought it was free the El Salvadorian refugees.
Oh yeah. They threw that in there, everything. But
Wow.
I'll tell you, Kilbar Garcia is never coming back.
No, yeah,
He is home. He is home.
Drinking margaritas with his friends.
Drinking margaritas with Senator Chris Van Hollen from Maryland.
Holland.
Don't cry, sweetheart. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're right. You're absolutely right. He didn't look like he was in any bad situation having tea or margaritas.
Said he got transferred.
Van Holler.
He said he got transferred out of that.
Well, if he's not in CCOT, he'll be in another prison in El Salvador.
Yeah, he got transferred out
That's
of
for
CCOT.
sure. Well, fine. He'll still be in prison for this.
That's
You
a
know.
good place.
There you go. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
No, you bet. Thank you both. I'm glad to see you out there. You know, we get they come around and ask us up in Flagler sometime. So usually I don't talk so much.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm not sure what got him into me today.
it's nice to have a lucid
I'm
point of view.
today. I had lots of coffee, so
Good.
the synapses are fine.
God bless you.
What is happy
Yeah,
Easter?
ask him, what does no king, no tyranny?
What is terrifying?
47. Tariffing. Did you want to talk about tariffing? Tell us. I'm Joanne with
Terrifying.
Terrifying. Oh, want to tell us about that? What does that mean? You're holding it out here for everybody. Do you want them to?
Right, because that's what's going on, and that's what's going to drive us.
Why is it going to drive us?
Well, if it affects Canada, if it affects these other countries, it's going to affect us.
How does tariffing affect the other countries?
Why don't you ask Canada?
But we're America.
What, something is driving you to this.
Taxes, tariffs are taxes, and it is going to reflect on us.
Well, this has to do with trade, right?
Yep.
Right. So how much do we pay in tariffs versus how much they pay in tariffs? And are we able to sell our products over there? So you've been around long enough to know when GE was one of the largest manufacturing industries. Where did GE go?
General Electric, I don't know.
It went out of the States. It's no longer, GE's not here, right? I remember I used to pass the GE factory. That's what happens when unfair tariffing happens and people start sending their companies overseas.
Well, don't we need Canada? Don't we need their metal? I think we do. I think the price of cars is going to go up sky high.
Well, if we start manufacturing at home, we're creating jobs at home.
Right, that's
And then we get into the trading
when I
game
see it,
where
I'll
we don't.
believe it.
You
It could
saw
be
it.
terrific.
Yeah, you saw it decline. You actually saw the regression of a strong America in your time. In America, we manufactured where we had the upper
50s.
hand. So yes,
Put the mic in.
so you saw it regress. Don't you think it's time for us to get strong again?
Yeah, and I don't think we should become racist because a lot of people are. I don't think we should do that because I'm an immigrant. My family came from France before the Pilgrims hit Plymouth Rock.
So what does that have to do with tariffing?
It affects Canada. It is affecting our neighbors and our allies, and shame so that.
So we should continue to be the weaker company so our competitors can be stronger.
No.
So how do we
No, but
turn
Canada's
this
been our ally for many, many years. Still is in my eyes.
So we should continue to regress in our performance standards and ability to be a strong company so that we're kind to our allies. We're not going to make it a fair trading because we
I
want
think
that.
we're making more enemies than we are friends right now.
So
And
that's
these other countries.
more important than a strong
It's
America.
very important to maintain peace with your allies. Why isn't it? Why wouldn't it be?
So
I'm Thomas. So let me ask you this: is an unfair relationship peaceful?
Not usually.
So in the area of economics, is this unfair labor tariffing practice by other countries against us peaceful?
I can't answer that question.
Does it speak
I
to
just,
the
I
relationship
just
between
know
the
that
countries?
Trump is a terrible, ungodly person.
All of a sudden, Trump's a terrible, ungodly person. Then why don't you say no king?
He sure is. I'll say it again and again.
But why is that?
Why is that?
He's trying to balance the
Because
He's trying to balance it. He's trying to balance the relationship between nations.
For real? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Oh,
That's the supposition, isn't it?
You are you know, you shouldn't be asking me these questions. You don't want me to say what I really feel about Trump.
Actually, I
What
do.
I really feel.
Actually, I do.
like what did he do? He's been
We all know the deal.
What's
We
that?
all know what it's all about.
What is it all about?
Money. Money. It's all about
You don't
money.
think the Democrats, all those Democrats in office, aren't billionaires
No,
on our tax dollars?
I don't think there's both
And they don't
parties
even. What? Wait. That I'm talking about your Democrats that you support. Okay,
I'm
so
an
you.
independent, so you've been
But-
calling me a Democrat when you don't know.
Well, you can be
that I'm
an independent, but
That
you're
way, I
supporting
can
Democrat values. They
Uh,
don't even vote constitutionally on bills. They don't follow the Constitution.
What'd you say your name
Have you
was?
done research on
Thomas.
representatives? Which representative?
Which one?
Tell me which one you did. And what kind of research did you do on him? Did you see how he votes on constitutional bills?
He's a traitor.
He's a yes man. He's a Republican.
Okay.
It was the same thing. And J.D. Vance forgot where he came from, didn't he? Mr.
J.D. Vance has not forgotten.
I know. He wrote a book about it.
If he can stand by the people that struggle as his family
He
did,
does. He does stand by the people that struggle. What makes you think he hasn't? He helps out people all the time.
if
Why? Because he's a vice.
he's not.
That's an unfair statement. That's an unfair statement. You would take away everybody's good deeds because they were working for somebody that you don't like.
I am saying there's a lot of good people here that don't have money and are struggling every day in this country.
Yeah, that's true.
A
That's
lot.
true. That's America. We have all classes of people in America. We have people in poverty. We have people that are dying at the hands of illegal immigrants, like Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who was an MS-13. Yes, he is. Do you want to see his rap sheet? I have his rap sheet right here. So you're going to tell me that the police report is fake? Well, this is an old police report from Maryland. See, this is the issue: is you don't want to believe the truth. You're telling me, an MS-13 member that was arrested, that his wife filed a temporary restraining order on him.
When they went through
He was caught. He admitted to being an MS-13 member. He admitted to being a gang member.
Let's talk to about that.
Why don't you listen to those facts?
They're still American citizens, sir.
What would you say? What would you
Trump
say
star,
to
that
all
is.
the women that got raped and killed by these illegal immigrants? Prove it?
I don't see any proof of that. Show me the proof.
Thank you.
Wow. It's already been. Wow. They are literally the most hateful, inhumane people I've ever met. Their focus is really to hate. I mean, I've got the
It's
rest.
directed at one person, though. I mean, so everything as a result is it's not true.
And it's sad because they're doing this to our country. And they are literally joining parties with people that have an initiative to harm this country. And that's who tries to put all of these rallies together. The whole George Floyd thing. I mean, it's extensive here, where we've got people that are working behind the scenes to take advantage of these people because they are so driven by their hate for one person that they will not open their eyes to the reality and the facts. They will deny the facts at every cost they can. It's very sad. It's very hard. It hurts my heart. It really hurts my heart.
That's right. Jesus to save you.
Guess we're done.
Yeah.
Because we all need saving. Did you know you need a savior? We all need a savior.